Hello everyone, this is Diane. I'm so happy to be able to tell you that these two Winter Gnome journals are finished. This one will be in my shop. This one is for a friend of mine. I want to say that these are nice and squishy because there's no hardcover on them. They are wallpaper with a thin layer of cotton batting and then fabric pieced together on top. And there is a file folder on the spine, and then the signatures are sewn to a piece of not real heavy cardstock. So there's a couple layers of thin cardstock on the spine. But it's nice and squishy, and it feels pretty full, kind of full, but there's lots of room for you to add things if you wanted to glue things to the pages, like I did with my fall journal that I used, that I bought from June's journals. It felt nice to begin with, but as I glued things to the pages, it just thickened it up and just made it so yummy to hold. So I wanted to tell you that. So I'm going to show you the one that'll be in the shop first, and then if you want to hang around for a quick flip through of this one, you are welcome to, of course. I'm going to link the digitals for the pages that I used and for the cute little gnomes that I just purchased, and I'll show them to you. The other pieces, they're just kind of random things from different digital shops. So I'm just going to link the pages and then the little paper doll type of gnomes. These are tied with a muslin strip that is sewn onto, this one is sewn in between the cover and the wallpaper. So let's take a look at this. If you watched the video where I laid everything out on this fabric, I have added a few things. I don't remember if the fringe was already on it on that video, but I added this piece of doily here, and I don't know if I added anything else, but it's fun. I sewed it with brown thread, dark brown thread. This piece here, this large piece, and then this little piece here, they're vintage patchwork pieces that were never made into a quilt. And this is a more modern yo-yo piece. It's a flower with a yo-yo center, and I got some of those at a estate sale. And this is real leather. It was from a leather sampler, not a book, but it was chained together with a big ball chain, all the pieces of leather. What a fun find that was, and it was so cheap I couldn't believe it at a flea market. So I cut a couple pieces of the blue. There's a vintage crochet trim here with the blue edging. And this is a piece of trim I think I got in Happy Mail. I don't think it's old, but I thought it was perfect for this. It looks woodsy to me. So let's take a look inside. Because it's Winter Gnome, these papers are from Stampin' Up. I went with whatever gnomes I had available to me, which weren't many, and mushrooms and woodlands kind of additions to the gnomes. So I used this wallpaper that has this branch, and it's kind of a purpley silvery foiled effect, so it looked wintry to me. And it's got a vintage lace pocket, and I made a lot of the tags and pockets and things on videos. I did 6 videos leading up to this flip through, so you can go back and check out the videos that show how I made the ephemera. This is embossed with white embossing powder, so it looks like snow. This is one of my stamps, and the stamps that I use, these little gnome stamps, they came from Hobby Lobby, and it's an Inka Dinka Doo brand. Vintage lace, crochet lace here. It's an embossed owl pocket. Some of the images or elements that I put into the book, they're not like a finished thing, so you can take these pieces, and I would like glue around the edges or sew around the edges to cardstock and put something behind that, something like that, or glue it to a page and then slide something behind it. I embossed the snowflakes across the top of the pages, and that's one of my stamps. I did this element in a video. You can take this out and write on it. And on the edges of some of the pages, I have vintage masking tape and vintage ingredients for the inside of an antique book spine. So this is that mesh fabric that you would find inside an old book spine. This was attached to it. There's some more of my stamps from Hobby Lobby. There's a ledger page. This is a little note paper. I had a tablet of these. I will be including some extras, so there's an extra owl also coming with each of the books. And some other extras like cut off pieces and just leftover pieces. This is a page from a Edith Holden book and a little piece of a vintage linen. It's got some embroidery on it right there. I just tucked in couple of digital pieces and a little stamped label. You can take those and use them throughout the book. So these are the pages I'm talking about that I will leave the link below for these pages. This is an embossed piece. I die cut the shape and then stamped and embossed that snowflake. And then I added this dotted Swiss tulle piece to it. This is a canasta score sheet. It's a nice long piece. And then I added this pocket. Well, I guess it's not a pocket book because it's kind of tall for that. But it's from 1883, this little appointment book. There's another piece of the leather. I added an eyelet to it. There's another pocket that I made with different elements. And I made this little tablet. And these are all pieces that were cut with the Sampool dies that I have that have layered sizes and they're jagged, like torn edges. This one has the notebook top. So I put 3 of them together and made a little tablet. And then just a scrap of coffee dyed scrapbook paper with a tab on top. So as I mentioned in some of my videos, I think that's where I need to be. It's a cross between whimsical with these papers and the stamps that I used and rustic, because I added a lot of rustic elements. This is from a vintage little binder, a miniature binder. So these are vintage papers. This is a digital, and this is the vintage masking tape. I stamped with a speckled stamp on that. Some more of my stamps. It says delight in little things. Sometimes I can feel that white embossing powder. So if you feel that in your book, just brush it off. There's some more of this embossed snowflakes and a little bunny. This is the little paper doll gnome I was talking about. So I think I paid $1.20 for however many sheets there are. I think there were 5 sheets, and there are 4 gnomes on each sheet. And I only printed 2 pages because that would give me 4 gnomes for each journal. So, and they have snowflakes on their hats, and I thought they were so cute. They're all identical except for the pattern on the hat. So I just tucked him in there, and a yellow piece of a ledger page. This pocket, I believe we made this on a video. And then I tucked a digital card in there. Guess I better sew that on better. It's almost off. I wanted it to be crooked, but that was a little too crooked. Second signature. It's just a sheet to journal on and another tag, which we discussed in a previous video. These pieces were cut from the Stampin' Up! Scrapbook paper, and those were punched from some scraps of that paper. Here's some more of that vintage book spine, the inside of it. This is a handmade paper, and I stamped it and put this digital mushroom on it. And this is another page, a page from another book that I got in a Happy Mail. And it's a wintry scene with a bird on a bare branch. And I liked the colors for this book too. And this is just a piece that got cut off of some linen piece. And there is a calendar page, and this is a lawyer, a gnome lawyer, but I loved the woodwork behind him. We talked about this pocket on a video. This has a vintage registered mail receipt from 1943 and another of those vintage notebook pages. And this is a tag, a digital tag with an owl. Another canasta score sheet, and this one has a little vintage folio page from a memoranda book. I don't know if we talked about this pocket. I just made this little tuck spot with a scrap of the scrapbook paper. It looks like wood, and it's got homemade paper. Well, I didn't make it, but it's handmade paper and a digital mushroom. There's a couple pieces there. And there's an envelope. A little owl stamp. Nothing in the envelope. And I added this brown ticket here. It's the other side of the lawyer page. And there's the calendar piece. So there's no calendar on this side. So you can glue whatever you want. It's glossy, so you would have to use an anti-smear pen if you wanted to write on it, or you could glue stuff on it. And there's a little owl there. And I don't think we talked about this, did we? I have one of these pennants in each journal, just made with scraps. And I did show you the other pennant shape that I made as upper tuck, and that's in the other journal with my Cricut. And I was able to cut the layer, the snowflake layer with my Cricut, but it didn't work out to cut another one. I already talked about that in another video, but look how pretty it looks with just stamping and embossing snowflakes on it. And I tucked a leftover scrapbook paper in there, and another of the pieces that I cut with the sand pool dies. There's a little journal card I made with an embossed snowflake. More vintage masking tape and some stamping, and a mushroom cut out from this paper. Look how pretty the digital paper is. I don't know if you've been noticing it, but it's so pretty. A lot of them have trees on the scenes and snow, but I love the flowers there. And some of the papers have snowmen, and I didn't use any of the snowman papers, but there are a lot of papers in that digital set. I just stamped some bare trees here and some snowflakes up there again. Here's another gnome on this pocket, and then I had cut this with my Cricut, and I added a piece of acetate behind it, sewed it on, and just added this little tag. And the last signature has more vintage lace, another embossed pocket with woodland animals. There's an owl ticket. And I think we did do this on video because I showed how to do the snow at the bottom. These are embossed snowflakes, and then I embossed the snow at the bottom. And I covered up his sunflower and the bee that's on his hat because he's a springtime gnome. And I showed about that in the video. And this is an envelope with a gnome in his house. It's a mushroom house. There's a deer. And there's a daily task sheet inside that envelope. There's another mushroom cut from the paper. More snowflakes at the top. This one, instead of having the little letter card tucked in, it has a little digital, there it goes, little digital owl that I fussy cut and tucked in there. And these, I didn't mention in the other ones, these are vintage brads. If you didn't see the previous videos, they came out of this box of Denison paper fasteners. Some more of the book spine. This is a postage stamp with mushrooms. Vintage ledger. I stamped along there. I folded that up. Sorry. Some more handmade paper, and that's a digital mushroom. It looks pretty realistic. And another little linen pocket here with just a couple pieces that you can use wherever in the book. This is a little gnome that I cut out of the scrapbook paper, and this is from a book about furniture, and it is just a photograph of some inlay wood that was decorating some furniture. So I thought that would make a nice embellishment somewhere. This is another of those pages from a book that I got in a Happy Mail, and it's about winter, and it has a pretty winter scene there. It's another winter scene. Isn't that pretty? And this is a doily, a shabby doily that I cut with a Sampool die and just folded it over the page. Here's one of the pages with the pretty trees. Just looks very wintry. It is very, very cold in the Northeast right now. So it was perfect time for making this wintry book. We had a big snowfall, our biggest one this year, a couple days ago, and the temperatures are very cold. There's a ruffle here, fabric ruffle with some fibers. This is part of the Stampin' Up! Paper. This card is a digital card, and I added this piece that I cut from the Stampin' Up! Paper, and then I had die cut this tree branch. And another tag. There's another canasta score sheet, and then this is a vintage paper from some kind of cooperative. I had to reinforce the folded part. It does have some recipes here. Now this has an antique piece here. Oh, I put the tag in the wrong place. When I replaced things after I sewed the journal together, I couldn't quite remember where everything went. So there's a tag that has another little antique piece that's a Victorian element. It's kind of like a German scrap, but because it's embossed, but it's not a German scrap. But anyway, it's a winter scene. And then there's a tag. When I come upon it, I'll know where to put it because I had those two together. It's a glassine bag, and I tucked the tag behind it. And then this is just a scrap of flyleaf from a book. I liked the color, and I embossed it with those polka dots. It looks like snowfall. And I just put that inside the bag for something to write on. And this is another tag. It was pale blue with white polka dots, and I embossed snowflakes on that and added these pretty things. But I'm going to put this somewhere else so I can put the correct tag there. More vintage masking tape. And these are just some leftover pieces that I had die cut, and this little fox was cut from the paper. There's an owl envelope with nothing in it, and a mushroom. Little brown jug syrup label. And this is just a digital page from a William Morris set of papers, and I had printed that on the back of it, which is perfect for this journal. The tree with the bare branches. I did not need to make this big pocket here. In the other journal, I had to because there was a big white space where the printer had made a mistake. And so I made a pocket for that journal So I decided to do one for this journal too, because I liked it. I just had these little elements left over, so I added them on here. Here's the tag with the other Victorian piece. So I'm going to put this in here with our little gnome. This is a pocket that I made with a die that Cynthia sent me recently in a Happy Mail. She just got an extra. She ordered one and got two, so she sent me the die for the pocket. So that was great and wonderful to use in this journal. So this will go back here. So you have the two Victorian pieces right there. And then in the back pocket, which is a vintage fabric, a linen piece with that piece of lace on it. And you can kind of see the branches through that. You can see them because they're shiny. And I don't think these were supposed to be in the same place. This was supposed to go in here. And this is supposed to go in here. Okay. So this journal, when you see this video, whatever day it is, this journal will be in my shop at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm hoping it'll be in tomorrow, which will be Friday. But whatever day it is that that the video is published, it will be in my shop at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you for watching this journal. So if you want to look at the other journal, I'll just go through it quickly right now. It has pretty much the same elements. And of course the cover is different. It has the same fabric pieces, the patchwork pieces. It has leather, but it's in a different color, and it has a pom-pom there. And this is a digital paper that I sewed on. There's a little mushroom stamp. This has a vintage yo-yo on the spine. Another piece of the leather. This one I forgot to put the strap on between the layers of the cover, so I sewed it right there. I inserted the little ephemera piece from Kathy Holden with the owl. It's an advertising piece in this little pocket. Look at that pretty snowflake page. That's part of the digital. It has a blue tab, leather tab. Again, the little notebook made with the die cut from Sampool. This I cut out of a book. I think it was North American Wildlife Reader's Digest. That's an awesome book if you ever find it. Edith Holden page. There's another calendar page with a skier. This is a Project Life card and an envelope. This is the pennant that I made with the cricket layer on top. This was a ledger page that I folded up and then had to fold in too. Another piece with the acetate window. Pocket with the same paper inside, or envelope, I mean. This one has another little owl fussy cut. I'm not going to try to take it out, but he's so cute. Another fussy cut from a Reader's Digest Wildlife of North America book. This one has a little cutout gnome and another piece of the furniture book. This one is just a piece of cardstock that I stamped, and then you can add some embellishment to it, or my friend can. And this is an antique piece. So this is a bigger piece than the other one. That's why I put 2 in the other one. And this one is glittery. And it was cut out of some kind of a catalog, or I think it was a catalog. And I put this little vintage trim on it. Here's the pocket that I made to cover up that white part. This is just a cut-off piece. A little owl flash card. It's a digital. And then this in the back pocket. I'll put my signature on the back of those large cards. So this one's for my friend. But if you're interested in this one, you can get this one in my shop if you're the first one there at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the day you see this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed all 6 of the videos that showed the making of these. And I can't wait to show you what the next project is going to be. It'll be a fun one. So I'll see you then. Have a creative day today. Bye-bye.